Hey everyone, welcome back to IT Audit with SK and welcome to this special throwback episode originally recorded about 3 years ago as part of a presentation for Women in ICT Day. In it, I shared the full story of how I got into IT audit from pivotal subject choices in high school to lucky breaks and the power of industry connections. Why am I resharing it now? Because it sets the stage for a new series coming soon to the channel, which is called Everyone Has a Story. And in this upcoming series, I'll be doing the usual, which is answering career questions, sharing personal insights, but in case you're tired of hearing these things from me, I will feature some guests from across the audit world to tell their own stories. So think of this as the origin story, and afterwards be on the lookout for the next video where I share what's changed since then and answer some of the most common questions I get about working in audit. So do comment below if any part of this video resonates with you or if your own journey into audit was just as unexpected. And with that being said, let's jump straight into the video.
All right. So once again, thank you for that lovely introduction. I've been told I have too many certifications, but I'm a firm believer in constantly upskilling yourself and growing. And I'll touch on that when I just go through my story. So I'll try to be short. I told Michelle that I'm going to be 10 minutes or under, but at the same time, I love to tell stories. So hopefully I'll keep it short. But as I was thinking of my journey to where I am now, I wanted to touch on it in a different way. Just looking at the theme as well, looking at access and safety. My really like my key point is going to be around access. I'm going to talk a lot about what I was exposed to that helped me and pushed me along to be where I am today. So just to start off my journey, I think my earliest exposure was through my first laptop, which was a little kiddie laptop. I used to, do practice English, maths, music. It was a very tiny, probably the size of my current laptop, but with a tiny screen calculator version. And I think for me, that was one of the seeds that was planted towards where I am today. So it was very, very key. I also remember that my dad had an sort of like a home office setup, and I really used to enjoy playing on that big computer, full blown, big monitor, big processing unit, the old style, the diskettes time, the CDs time. So I really used to enjoy like playing computer games. That's where I sort of got exposed to even what, Microsoft Word was back then. Must have been Windows 98 or something like that. Very old version of Windows. But again, I thought about it and I said that's probably where the seeds were being sown for me to be where I am today. Um, I even remember back in primary school, we used to have IT as a nice to have. Those days, I think the main subjects were, your maths, Shona, English, content. My particular school had a great computer lab now that I think of it, and it makes me also see how privileged I was. We used to do IT lessons, and my teacher would always say she's really good at typing. She's, again, that just that sowing of seeds. And I've always been proud. I'm an exceptional typer, even up to now. So it's those tiny little seeds that were being planted then in primary school. But I think as I look back at that point, I really didn't think I would want to do anything pertaining to IT. I used to think I wanted to be a pilot, I wanted to be a doctor, I wanted to be a dentist. Those were sort of the careers I was thinking about at that point. So I just thought I should also touch on that because most people, you reach these key points in your life where you have to decide, okay, what career should I take? Which degree should I take? etc. So, like all of you, I would assume I was also confused at key points in my own life pertaining to which career to take. So we cross over to high school. I think high school was pretty much a breeze. Again, I wasn't focused on IT at that time. I was still thinking of being a doctor at that point. So I do remember though a key point in my high school sort of stretch was when I passed my O level. I had great results. I had a B in computers though. And I remember I had my combination set when my results, before my results came in. I knew I wanted to do maths, physics, biochemistry. It was set in stone. But on my first day in A level, I went and I said, you know what, I want to do maths, physics, computers. And the teachers then were like, okay, firstly, that's a strange combination. And then secondly, they kind of try to dissuade me and say, no, sometimes when you're, I'm just going to blow my horn a bit, when you're a star student, the teachers will be like a bit personal, don't you want to change that? Are you sure? That kind of thing. But yeah, I made that choice to change to computers. And I remember there was no computers class that year at all because no one had signed up for computers. And I was told, go and find 5 people and then you can have a class. So I had the task of finding 5 people. And lucky enough, we were exactly 5. 4 other guys were, also wanted to pursue the same sort of direction. It's 2 girls, 3 guys. So that was our class, very intimate sort of setup. We would learn literally around the teacher's table. So again, I think that was a very key point because I could have been a doctor. I could have just gone a different direction. But that was a very key and critical point within my career journey. And fast forward to end of A level, when my results came back, due to personal problems, etc., I didn't have the best of results. Like Henrika, I also had, below 10 points. And for me, that was like, yeah, end of the road because I wanted to get into the mainstream sort of colleges within Zimbabwe. And if you want to pursue IT and you have less than 10 points, it's already a struggle. So, I tried to apply. I don't even remember getting a response from the likes of, the mainstream universities, UZ, MSUs, NAST, because my results were not that great anyway. But I remember just the way, and again, if I can just put in that faith aspect, I remember my application to the university I then attended, Africa University. Everything was just literally smooth sailing. I picked computer information systems, though at the same time they were launching computer science. So again, I thought I should mention that because recently with the results coming in, a lot of people have been asking me, which combination should I take? I totally have been there. I know what it feels like. I had to choose between computer science and computer information systems. And, it was a very tough decision to make, but I then opted for computer information systems because I wanted that business aspect. I was thinking a bit long term. Maybe if computers don't work out, I can always go and do something business related. So yeah, that was it. With my not so great results, I went into a university that even up to now, people will say the best IT colleges or universities are ABCD. I don't particularly ascribe to that because I believe I am where I am because of a great university I attended. Yeah, I think that's a bit old school thinking, but that's my opinion. So computer science versus computer information systems, the decision had to be made. And just moving on, during I have a great story about my internship. It would take me too long to talk about it, but I almost didn't pick EY when I was applying for my internship because it didn't ascribe to what I thought IT was about. I didn't even know there was something like EY. I didn't know about auditing at all, IT audit. I didn't know anything to do with it. And I remember my friend saying, what, you're turning down an invitation to EY? Do you not know about EY? And I was like, no, I don't know anything about EY. And they told me what it was about, this is EY. But in my head, IT was wearing overalls, splicing cables, that's the IT I had in my head. So I was just a bit hesitant to go through that process. But after all, I then, it's a long story. It involves, it's a long story. But essentially, I then ended up going to EY after all. So that's how I ended up there. Another key point within my internship journey was when I went to China on a government-sponsored trip. That for me opened my eyes literally to the possibilities of IT. Remember, at this point, all I'm thinking is computer science versus computer information systems. I now have a bit of knowledge around hardware, software, operating systems. But when I went to China, my mind was blown with the possibilities of technology. It's my first time that I experienced a bit of, artificial intelligence. I had my first VR experience. I started to know about IoT. 4G at that time was kind of a hot topic. So it opened my eyes, even just literally the experience of being there. It was miles away from what I knew from home. So that really sort of cultivated in me even a greater interest to do with IT. And it taught me that in as much as I was doing IT audit, there were so many avenues to explore within IT. And that took me into work. I like to brag about this. By the time I left for internship, I had my contract because I did very well at work. And yeah, maybe I can also touch on this. I remember at work, people used to say, "You're from Africa University," because it was sort of unheard of that they would hire from Africa University. Again, that thing I mentioned about those stereotypes about IT from certain universities is great, and I put that in quotes. But yeah, I remember there was a bit of, "Oh, you're from AU," because, I don't know what their impression of AU was, but I brag about that because I proved myself and I worked hard. And by the time I went back to college to finish off my degree, I had a contract and life was sweet. You enjoy life a little bit better when you know that after you graduate, you have a job to go to. So that was it. And I'll just dive into my work experience afterwards. I was with EY for close to 5-6 years. There was a lot of education, like Michelle mentioned. I got exposed to CISA. Someone posted a question about CISA, C risk, C gate, C DPSE. I have a lot of credentials, but I'm someone who really enjoys reading widely pertaining to IT. IT is always evolving, so I just try to keep pace and also just elevate myself from a skills perspective. So I did IT audit, various IT audits, a bit of data analytics. It's a lot of work that I did. It's very difficult to describe in one session, but that's what I mainly did within EY. So there was a lot of exposure to different IT environments. And some people always ask me, what do you like about IT audit? You're not stationary in one company. The typical when you work in IT. With IT audit, you are going through many companies. You're seeing different IT environments. You're meeting with a lot of people. You're networking and you're growing at the same time. Very fast-paced environment, very great environment if you want to quickly grow. So that was my journey. I pretty much went from intern to manager up until the time when I left recently and joined Deloitte UK, where I am now. And I would say I'm in a season where I took a leap of faith, and now there are endless possibilities. I can't even talk about my Deloitte experience yet because it's only been 2 months. But again, my eyes have been opened to further possibilities. Definitely, you'll be seeing me add more credentials to my name, obviously, because I love to learn. But yeah, even just where I can take my career now, it has really broadened it. So from having my first little laptop to where I am now, yeah, it's been quite a journey. It's had its ups and downs, but it's been quite an enjoyable experience. So I tried to summarize again because I told Michelle I'll keep it under 10 minutes. But my key takeaways, because I wanted to bring something a bit more different. the importance of early and continuous exposure to the girl child. We're talking about access today. I think it's important to always think, what kind of exposure can we give the different ladies who want to pursue STEM related careers? It could even be just, having those initiatives like, bring a friend to work type of initiatives where it allows, it could be sponsoring the next girl child's certification or something like that. But I thought it was very important. And even if you can't do big things like that, as an individual, reading is so good. You can expose yourself to a lot of information just by reading. So early exposure. I just imagine a great Zimbabwe if we could just from the early ages, we start teaching kids about IT or other important science related or STEM subjects in general. It would be quite an amazing country. Solid support structure. Throughout my journey that I tried to summarize, there was always a support structure. If it's not my parents, it's my friends. If it's not my friends, it's great colleagues. If it's not great colleagues, it's my network, which has grown exponentially, which is really amazing. So I think it's important that as we look at International Girl in ICT Day, it's important that we encourage or we provide a support structure for the girl child. And through my journey, I also had moments of being confused and doubting myself. I think it's you should just put it out there. It's normal. No one has it, perfect. When you go on LinkedIn, normally we highlight our achievements. But you should also know that behind that, there's a lot of talk around imposter syndrome. So it's normal to be confused. It's normal to doubt yourself. Continue to upskill. Can't emphasize that enough. And IT is broad. And that's what I always tell people. Someone was asking me recently, so, I mean, if I do this degree, then what, Now I'm like, you know what? IT is so broad. You are not limited to just doing a degree. You can acquire so many skills just as long as you have the internet. You're good to go. You can teach yourself coding. You can teach yourself any subject, digital marketing, whatever you think of, you can literally teach yourself. So IT is broad. It continues to develop. It's an exciting career choice. Volunteering and networking. I love to volunteer. I think volunteering is so key. If you just stick to IT, you're going to be, I think your view will be very sort of narrow. You can become a bit narrow-minded. I volunteer through ISACA. That works very well for me and the time I need to spend there. I'm a social media advocate, so you will normally find me posting stuff pertaining to ISACA, but pertaining to IT in general. I volunteer through the board. It also helps me to network. But even as outside of that, I volunteer in my own personal capacity in different ways. If you're a student and you hit me up, normally I am going to give you career guidance for free. As long as it says student, you're so welcome to just ask me your question. Sometimes people are like, that's a lot of information. I didn't think of that because I've been there and I know how hard the journey can be. And no matter the obstacle, keep moving forward one step at a time. Like Henrika mentioned, just baby steps. You don't have to have it figured out. Keep yourself open to endless possibilities. And that would be my last point. So to reach me, that's my LinkedIn. Please feel free to reach out to me if you want to know more about my journey. There is so much. I just tried to condense it and, make it relatable to the audience that we have today. Otherwise, that's it from me, Michelle.